we ready for this?
We're ready.
Okay, so Kinetic Legacy is our company. I have done a couple of million cups here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I tend to get in the weeds a little bit about what it is we do because we're sort of dabbling in a lot of things, but at our core, we are providing unique social spaces for individuals and organizations. And then the basis of what we've done is our digital library. And so this is where I get off the rails a little bit with the digital library part. I'll just tell a quick little story. If, 30, 40 years ago, if you took a family vacation, someone would have been taking photographs for sure, and they would have been on film. There may have been someone taking like a VHS movie. I mean, throughout my lifetime, it's been 8mm with sound, I believe, at some point, VHS, and then VHS-C, and then it went digital, and all of this stuff exists. And we always love taking these photos and videos of our family, but in the past, your mother or grandmother might have put those into a photo album. And if she could have, she would have shoved the movie into the photo album as well and written in the margins. This is the story of a vacation we took. We were at Yosemite, and this is the day we stayed here. This is the other thing we did. And it all would have been in a photo album, and then it would have gone on a shelf. And 10, 15, 20 years down the road, you love looking at those albums. In our modern digital world, we don't have the equivalent yet. So we take photos and videos on our phones that are probably better than any of those that I'm talking about from the past, but we have no place to curate and sort and organize them. So that's kind of what the library portion of the technology that we're building does. So on the screen, this is the company. James Holmberg is an artist here in Minneapolis. Sarah Anderson is actually my aunt by marriage, but she's another business partner and a Parsons graduate. She's marketing and design. And then you've got me. I worked at a boys camp for 20 plus years, and I run a construction company, and I am kind of sentimental. So when it comes to the core of our business, yes, we believe that legacy matters, and that we as humans do care about saving and archiving memories. So we are a digital memory preservation platform, basically. Let's see what Sarah put in here. Our proprietary platform digitizes and organizes and preserves memories. And that's true. That's kind of what I was explaining there with the vacation story. So Sarah put this PowerPoint together. I haven't actually had a chance to look at the new one, but what we've done for families, that the name of that app, and it is out in the market, is called Andolin. And that is sort of a pure version of our memory library. We had to build that in order to get to, from a entrepreneurial standpoint, where we actually are headed is we're doing the same thing for organizations and institutions. And I'll get into that here quickly too. I know I don't have much time. So content channels for individuals and families. Yes, that's Andolin. Here we go with the content channels for communities and institutions. This is our main focus right now. So currently we have an addiction recovery high school that we're working with here in Minneapolis. We have 2 camps. We have a group called Sober Squad, which is the Native Americans' answer to the problems with AA. And then we're also working with the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. And you might wonder what are camps and tribes and phone call. what do camps, tribes, and addiction recovery high schools have in common? And the key thing there is that they need both a private social space, like their own private Facebook, basically, is the way I would describe that quickly, or a Facebook group. And then they also need their memories preserved over time. So we work with them, those institutions and schools, colleges, any organization that has a large dedicated alumni base is who we service well. So I'm going to head off of here because I can't see any of you, and I'm sort of worried that I'm talking into the void here.
We're here. We're fascinated.
Okay, good. It's like I'm concerned that I have a dropped call, that I'm
yeah, that you're just talking. Yeah. No, yeah. We're cool.
Okay, as long as I'm still good, that helps. So PSBN is our current, we've got two businesses. Kinetic Legacy does the digital technology behind it. PSBN is like a leaser of channels. So PSBN, the Private Social Broadcast Network, is where any institution or organization would have their channel on our network. And a channel on our network looks like some of the information that you might have on your website would be there, but it's accessed through an app. And it's like having your own private Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat hybrid that you control. And the important thing there, the reason we call it a channel is like on the television, it wasn't enough for us to have ABC, NBC, CBS. We've got hundreds now of channels. And the reason for that is some of them are very specific to certain people. So why there's, 5 golf channels showing 30-year-old golf tournaments, I don't know, because I personally don't watch them, but there is an audience for them. So if you are a large enough organization or institution with a long enough history, you basically need your own private channel to present your content, and that's what we provide. If I've got a little more time, how organizations benefit from what we do is, first of all, the privacy. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, none of them require verification of your identity. That's something we do. So if in the digital world, if I want to create a Gmail account under a fake name and then go to Facebook and create a fake account there under a fake name, no problem. In our world, in order to get into the system, you have to verify your identity just the same as I have to verify my identity for my bank. And once I've verified my identity, then my bank will allow me to remotely deposit a check and transfer funds. So clearly we can provide that type of security. It's just that existing social networks don't demand it of people. So privacy, safety, and security, it is achievable, and that's what we're providing organizations and institutions. These are our 3 brands. Kinetic Legacy is the parent company. Andolin is the first channel on our PSBN network, and that is for individuals to preserve their own family memories, their personal memories. And I'd love to answer a few questions about that when we get done, because I love Andolin. It is a fantastic digital library. And then PSBN is our subsidiary company that really just handles the lease agreements with people who want to use our products. And last, I was told that we would be confronting this, how can you help, out in the Zoom world there. down in Mankato. What is it that you could do to help us in our efforts to get this out? And if we can go back, if I can stop sharing my screen, then I assume we could have that be a little more interactive, that part of it.
Hey, you just click on stop share at the top of your screen, and then we can, they'll be able to see you, you'll be able to see them.
Oh,
And
there.
if you have
There.
you can put a little note in chat, or you can click on raise hand if you want. I'll be happy to call on you.
Great.
While we're waiting, could you tell us a little bit about the Andolin app? Is there a cost to use it? And who is your primary audience for the Andolin app?
So Andolin is free to use. We do set a data limit. I think right now that's 30 gigs. So it will be supported by our institutional use. So we're intending to keep Andolin free for personal use.
Mm-hmm.
In Andolin, you can enter 4 types of entities: person, place, thing, or event. Like, wasn't that an old game or something? 20 questions or something, right? So person, place, thing, or event. Each of them has unique characteristics. You can link any of those people, places, things, or events, and then add 4 different types of memories to them: photo, video, audio, or written memory. And so as an example, my family has fished on a lake in northern Minnesota for 4 generations. So if I put the people that have been out there, my grandfather, my father, myself, my children, if I put them in as people, then I plant a digital monument on the lake as a place. So I add a place, which is the lake. And I think this is where people get a little confused too, like, what is it to plant a digital monument on a lake? But I enter the location of the lake, and that assigns a monument to it. And if you think of the game Pokemon Go, which everyone was into, right, a few years ago, Pokemon Go, they put digital monuments all over the planet. And then people would walk around with their phone, locate that monument, and out from behind the monument would jump a fictional character, a Pokemon character. In our world, the monument that we plant is there, and it's accessible only to the people who you share these things with, your family. And when you get to that monument, it's the videos and the photos and the memories of your lifetime spent at this place.
Oh, wow.
So we have another project that's sort of it's a hidden histories of cities project, where we would allow the citizens to plant monuments and then tell their testimonials to that monument. So you might understand, if I'm here, this is what's happened at this particular location over time. So anyway, you link these things together. So you've got grandpa, your dad, your mom, aunts and uncles. You put them in your library as entities. You geolocate the lake, and then you start adding your memories to it, and you link them to, like, in order to get to the lake, I have to go to the land up north. And every year we have a summer event at the cabin up there. So I put that in as an event. Now, when I want to find the photo of myself fishing with grandpa 20 years ago, I don't scroll through some endless bucket of digital assets that I can't find my photo. I go directly to the lake, or I go to the event, and they're linked together. So you create this connective library. We got planes.
Great.
You create this connective library to make searching, organizing, and finding your digital assets more easy. It's like a digital scrapbook.
Nice. Bobby has a question for you. Go ahead, Bobby. You can unmute yourself.
Great. Yes. I'm very curious on the transfer of the library itself. All of my musical memories are like on 16mm film, 2-inch tape, videotape, and especially a 1-inch or a 1/4-inch master audio tapes. Do you have that availability to transfer that? And is your 30 gig limit, is there a charge after the limit of storage?
Yeah, so initially we had intended to have it be a subscription-based product, but we quickly realized that our institutions and organizations were going to pay for the product. Basically, we can make it free to individuals up to 30 gigs easily. The data storage isn't that costly. So after 30 gigs, yes, you can opt into larger storage packages. And you know, I'm a photographer. I guided canoe trips for many years. I've got something like 70,000 photos from my time at camp, and that's before I went. Those are the digital ones. I still have a lot of negatives that I need to get scanned. So if you want to put more data in, yes, you can buy more data. And it's important to me that if you put audio or a photo in there, or a video, we don't compress. We keep everything at full resolution, and that's important to me, just because I have a few photo storage sites I use so that I'm redundantly backed up. And the last thing in the world I want is to get that back from them some point in the future and have it be, you know, heavily degraded. So we keep everything at full resolution.
Right. Okay, great. Now, just one other question. I have an extensive library of 16 millimeter film. Is the transfer of this into a digital platform? How does that take place? Do I do that and give it to you, or do you do that?
So we don't have that service available for people. There are in most communities there is someone who transfers those things. I know that Saving Tape is one here in Minneapolis, and there's another one I can't remember the name right now, but they will digitize those things for you, and then we provide the storage. It's really self-directed. We don't put things in for you. You have to decide how you want those things stored, what connections you want them to make with other things, and we just provide the blank scrapbook for you to do that.
I get it. Thank you.
Yep. Good question, by the way.
Kate had a question. She had to duck out for another meeting, but she left it in chat for us. She's interested in how are you currently advertising and how are you getting the word out about both of you?
Again, plain. How are we currently advertising? We aren't spending any money on advertising right now. It's all been self-directed, and part of the reason for that is we love what Andolin is, but we sort of consider ourselves still in beta. And so we're not going to push a lot of advertising while we're still making improvements that we think are vital. We do have organic growth with it. We can account for about maybe 100 or 150 of our friends and family who've downloaded it, and now we've got, you know, close to 1,000 who are using it. So clearly it's catching on somewhere. Despite our being really quiet about it, people seem to be finding it. So that's good. But one of the biggest improvements we intend to make is in the social aspect of it. The library itself is fantastic, and I have a huge library of my own filled out with lots of photos. And it's a little daunting to go back in time and try and think about putting the last 30 years worth of memories in it. But if you put it on your phone and you start using it today, what it's really fantastic for is taking care of the things you're doing right now. So I try and put at least a photo or two in a week that are important to me. And the rest of the photos that I take, you know, if they persist into the future, that's great. I don't really care. I have the important ones in Andolin. So, and I'll.
Great, go ahead. John's got a question, and then we'll wrap up with our last question. But go ahead, John.
Have you explored the idea of maybe working with county historical societies at all as a possible client?
Yes. In fact, I've reached out to several historical societies that I think they're broke. I think the thing is that they generally have very few funds, and they're often most often sort of run by the elderly members of the community, and the idea of technology and digitizing these things just hasn't really caught on with them. But I would absolutely love, 5 years ago my dad did not know, and my dad's 70 years old, which is not even that old these days, but he had no idea how to run Facebook, and now he's a Facebook master. So I have no doubt that in the future, people will understand the importance of digitizing these assets and providing a safe space for them in a digital world. But that has yet to catch on with the Historical Society, I'd say.
I just put the name of our director for the Blue Earth County Historical Society. She's a younger person. She's pretty tech savvy. So yeah. She might be interested.
Well, and how we started, we started with telling the history of objects. Like Ancestry for Objects is what the initial thing was. How, if I've got a family heirloom, and this came from my time in the construction world, we have clients who want us to build these elaborate spaces to put these heirlooms, and they'd have a story behind them. But if you've got an heirloom that was grandpa's thing, he brought it back from Germany or whatever, right? The next story is, well, I'm pretty sure, the next generation says, well, I'm pretty sure it was my great uncle's or something like that. And then the third generation is, yeah, I don't remember where that came from, some old family member, and I forget the story behind it. So we wanted to preserve the story of objects. How do you tell the story of an object and digitize it and preserve that story? So that's where we started.
Let me just add real quick to the Historical Society moment. She experimented in Mankato here a couple of years ago in music with a digital booth. That was a kind of a new concept thing that the Historical Society itself was playing with. I would research that a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a little bit like StoryCorps. There's different things out there where people preserve these memories, and they're all fantastic. They just need a home to live in. So,
John, did you have a last question? Is your hand still up from last time? Okay, so it's time for our wrap-up question. Oh, and I put a note in there. You might consider a partnership with OnCell. OnCell is a service that a lot of historical societies use for kind of GPS marking different, historical sites in the city, and then giving people a phone number and a QR code they can use to get information. But there's no photo video aspect to it.
Oh, that's super cool. I've never heard of that, but yeah, ours would just be the next progression in. It would.
So it might be a cool thing to contact them and see if there's some way to do some sort of a partnership with them. You can put links in OnCell information. I'll send you a link to the OnCell for Mankato. We have one where you can go around all the historical sites in town and all the poetry signs, and you can hear a recording. I'll send you a link to that so you can see it, and then contact information.
Yeah, very cool. And if that data exists, it can be transferred over into another system. So
okay.
Cool.
So our last question is, how can we as a community help you? Could you remind us of what those two things were that you're hoping for?
Yeah, I think I won't pull up my thing here and look at what we have, but first of all, of course, go ahead and download the Andolin app. That's fun. Play around with it. Ooh, look at this stuff. Play around with it. It's fun to use. It's best if you have if you encourage family and friends, because once you've entered an object or a place or an event, once you've entered something into your library and share it with your family, you create a shared tag, then they can put their photos, videos, audio, and written recordings to that memory as well, and then it's shared between the two of you. So building that out is one thing. And then, this particular community, if you are a member of an organization or an institution, like an alumni member of something that where you really like, I worked at a boys camp. I went to a camp when I was 6 and 7 years old, and then I went back to work at that camp when I was 21 years old. There was that much of a gap between when I was there as a kid and then went back as an adult. I loved that place. And then I worked there for almost 20 years. If you are connected to something that you care about deeply, and you care about the preservation of an organization like that, whether it's your college, your high school, a camp, any institution like that, reach out to me and let me know what's going on, and I'll see if we can't help them, help provide them a space that's unique for them.